everyone, I am Sneha, co-founder and CEO of DevCompass, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you guys here. We are at the start of the Claude Certificate Preparation course. This is stage 0, video 1, and before we move on, I have to give you a few disclaimers. First, I am really glad that you signed up for it. Second, this is not going to be easy, and trust me on that. And this is not to demotivate you, but to tell you that you have signed up for something that needs a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. I am already super proud of you, so stick through it, and by the end of this entire thing, you will be absolutely proud of how far you have come, and so are we. Third, I really want you to have a fun learning in this entire journey. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. If this feels hard, take a pause, take a break, go on a vacation, have your favorite coffee, take a walk, go in the nature, write to us, let us know that, hey, I am thinking of giving up, and we will tell you the reasons why you shouldn't. Yeah, a few more, but we'll keep talking about it. For everyone else who does not have any idea or any context, and you just saw the video thumbnail and you're like, oh, I am going to learn about LLMs. If you need more information around our Claude Certificate Preparation course, please head over to devcompass.ai and you will get all the relevant information. Let's get started. So before we write a single line of code in this course, I want to make sure you have the right mental model of what you are actually working with. Because here's the thing, a lot of developers I have seen struggle with Claude not because they don't know how to code, but because they have the wrong picture in their head of what Claude actually is. And when your mental model is wrong, you misread error messages, you write the wrong prompts, and you make architectural decisions that look fine until they suddenly aren't. So let's fix the mental model first. An LLM, a large language model, is a system that has read an enormous amount of text and learned to predict what comes next. That's actually it. That's the core of what it does. It takes text in and produces text out by predicting the most likely continuation. And that is the simplest example I could have given in plain English. Now, predicting what comes next sounds almost too simple, but the reason it works so well is because predicting the next word in a sentence actually requires understanding the sentence. You can't predict the patient was taken to the dash correctly unless you understand the context. You understand medicine, you understand grammar. So the model had to build a kind of compressed understanding of the world just to get good at the prediction task. And here's the analogy that I find most useful. Imagine someone who has read basically every book, article, forum post, code repository, and a technical manual ever written. I really wish. And they have done it so thoroughly that they can continue any paragraph you start. They don't have a separate reasoning module or a knowledge database that they can query. They just know things because they've read everything, and when you ask them a question, they are generating the most coherent, useful continuation of your question that they can. That is autocomplete, but trained on billions of documents with billions of parameters, producing responses that can reason, write code, analyze situations, and make decisions. Now, if I have to take an example, the gap between phone autocomplete and Claude is enormous in practice, but the underlying mechanism of predicting what comes next is the same. Now, why do you think that happens? Because when you're talking about phone autocomplete, it has no context of what or who you are talking to. It is just going to guess some words. But that is not the case with Claude. It has enough context, it's trained on data, and you can fetch all of that. So now there are two things that follow directly from this that are going to matter every single day while you take this course, and we're slowly going to build it. So there are two key constraints. The first constraint is there is no memory between conversations. Every time you start a new conversation with Claude, it starts completely fresh. It doesn't remember what you said yesterday. It doesn't remember the project you have been working on. It has no idea who you are. Everything it knows about your situation has to be in the current conversation every single time. We're going to hit this head on in the walkthroughs right after this video, because I want you to feel this constraint before it becomes a bug in something you have built. And trust me, we're going to talk a lot about failure scenarios and systems and fixes. Just be ready for it. The second constraint is Claude only sees what's in the context window. The context window is the working memory for Claude. It's the total amount of text Claude can see at once. Your instructions, the conversations so far, any documents you have passed in, everything. But it's not infinite. And here's what matters architecturally. If something isn't in the context window, Claude doesn't know it. You can't reference a document from 3 conversations ago. You can't assume Claude remembers a decision from earlier unless it is still in the active conversation. This is going to be one of the most important constraints we design around in this course, and we're going to talk a lot about it. In fact, a small hint, one of the stages is entirely around the failures that has been caused around context window. Now, let's look a little more into this context window thing. So let's think of this context window as a Claude's working memory. Everything Claude needs to do its job has to fit in this box. When we get to stage 5, we're going to deal specifically with what happens when long conversations start degrading, which is a direct consequence of this constraint, and it will give you a lot of trouble, trust me. But one more thing before we move on, you may have heard the term hallucination, where an LLM confidently states something that is false. This also comes directly from the prediction mechanism. The model doesn't know things in a way a database does. It generates the most plausible combination. Sometimes the most plausible sounding continuation is wrong, and that is why when we build agents in this course later on, we will not just trust Claude's output blindly. We will validate, we will structure, we will use tools to ground Claude in real data, and that is going to come in stage 2 and beyond. So that was it for this video. We have talked about how LLMs predict the next token. Understanding is a side effect of doing this well. There's no memory between sessions. Everything must be in context. And in layman terms, context window is the working memory. If it's not there in Claude, Claude cannot see it. So in this next video, we're going to look at Claude specifically, how it differs from other models like GPT-4, what makes it behave the way it does, and why those differences matter when you're building production systems. Also, please be geared up for what's in store for you over the 5 stages and the next 34 videos. Yeah, you heard me right, 34. Please don't scare and run away. I am 100% sure that you guys can do it. If we can do it, you can definitely do it. And whenever you need help, we are there. We are happy to pour all of our efforts in so that you have a great experience. Just give us the love if you like it. If not, give us feedbacks. We don't like to be empty-handed. So yeah, I will see you in the next videos. Stay tuned. Let's stay connected. Let's be friends. Thank you.